Oh, the good old Wonder Bread Fiero. This is definitely the most interesting car I have ever owned. And since my, I don't know, about a week or so of ownership, maybe it's been 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks? I don't know. I don't even know what day it is anymore. I've had this car for at least a couple weeks now, and I made some changes because there's just some things I didn't like about the car. And I finally got tags on the car, which means we can drive the car. And which also means we're finally going to make a driving video of the new Fiero. So that's going to be this video, driving the Fiero for the first time. Well, on YouTube, that is. Yeah, I'll tell you, it needs a little work, but it's not too bad. It's got good bones, as they say. It's just like a lot of small things. And see, the thing is, I want to kind of get it back more to a street car. Like a little bit more comfortable, if you will, just to drive on the street. This is primarily will be a track car when I get to that point. But I'm not at that point. So right now, I just want to enjoy it on the road. And yeah, it's just got a lot of not very comfortable things about it. But we're getting there. We are getting there. I'm still waiting on the door locks for the new doors. That way we have glass and some security other than our removable steering wheel here. But other than that, yeah. I would love to get, I think for racing purposes, the single Kirky seat would be the best, but for street purposes, it's a little uncomfortable for me getting in because of the side bolsters. So more, less aggressive seats would be great. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, it works, right? It works. All right. Sticky up on the dash here. Well, windshield, whatever the hell that's called. All right. I tell you, this is definitely an experience. It's a process to get this car going because of all you gotta do. You know, you gotta put the removable steering wheel on. You gotta get your harness on. And this is the first car, obviously, I've ever had, never been in, surprisingly, that's had a harness. Now, it's just a regular seatbelt. So, you know, it's a lot more work just to get in the car and drive it on the street. The harnesses are fine though, I don't mind the harnesses. So like every other race car, and I've demonstrated this in the video of getting the car, main power on, ignition, fuel. I guess it didn't prime enough fuel, didn't stay running. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. It starts up good. I mean, it's mostly a stock L67 V6, so it runs fine. Runs like a factory car in terms of drivability. The only thing I hate about this car is the shifter is garbage, and the clutch is less than ideal. The engagement is just bad. For me, all of those things will have to be changed at some point. I don't think there's really much you can do with the shifter. It is what it is. You know, I'm not used to having cable-driven linkage for shifting. You know, in the Cobra, it was a direct shaft down into the transmission to shift, and it was MGW shifter, so it was precise. I mean, I didn't miss gears at all. I could just slam each gear, and downshifting was awesome. And the clutch engagement in that car was great. Even though it was cable driven, it was still awesome, very predictable what the clutch was going to do. This car, no, it is not predictable at all. But here, sitting at idle, we got over 50 psi of oil pressure, charging over 14 volts. I mean, everything is great. It's idling just a shade under 1,000 RPM. I mean, I mean, in that aspect of a street car, it does great in terms of how the engine operates. Of course, down the road, we're going to be sourcing as much power as we can out of this V6, and we all know they're good for 400 wheel reliably. So 400 wheel in a car that weighs roughly 2,600 pounds will be fun for sure. So, and you know, it's generally easy to get out of these engines. You do need to make modifications, but you can do it. All right, switch your fans on, and now we're ready to go. So let's get this baby on the road. So much better. I made some adjustments to the throttle linkage. It was, you know, had some slack in it, so it was really hard to like you know, do what I needed to do. Time finding second gear there. It's such garbage. But it drives nice, you know, once you get it cruising. Of course, everything's shaking, rattling, and rubbing because it's, you know, a bare car. There's no insulation. You got the cage. You got a bunch of sheet metal parts. It's a race car. For me, this is new. For some people, they're like, oh yeah, it's a race car. It's a different experience, unlike anything I've ever experienced before. The other big issue with this car, I mean, even for track use, I guess it doesn't matter, really, it don't. I would like to know, if I was racing on a track, how fast I was going, but the previous, or the original builder of the car, I should say, didn't think knowing how fast you were going was important, as long as you were going. So there was no speedometer, there was only a tachometer. So that clutch, man, it's horrible. Sometimes it will let out smoothly, and sometimes it grabs really hard. But yeah, I don't have no speedometer, so I can only judge my speed by just pace of traffic. And generally, if you've been driving long enough, you can get a good sense of how fast you're going. I love people's reactions when they see this car. It's so great. Not a noise that I'm used to hearing. You know, I've had high revving V8s, you know, multiple turbo cars. That's what I'm used to hearing. Hearing that whining of the superchargers, it's pretty fun actually. Trying to do downshifts is doing it, so I'm gonna pull over here. I'm gonna check the plug wires. Alright, so we're back, pulled over, checked the connections to the fuel injectors, checked the spark plug wires. I guess it was one of the two. I moved everything around, and now we're misfire. So I definitely have to make adjustments. I think it's because the firewall has of the aluminum foil on it, the heat barrier foil. And I think because the exhaust manifold's right there, what's happening is the heat's radiating back off the firewall, and it's just cooking those spark plug wires back there. So I might have to get the little protective spark plug boots just to go over those back three, because they are really, really hot. This whole engine's actually really, really hot. It must run really hot. But I mean, our water temp is 180, so I don't know. I don't get it. But it's running good now, so it is what it is. I mean, it could have been because this car's got coilovers in the back. It's got cut lowering springs in the front. So you hit the slightest bump and you're just going for a ride. So it may just bump something loose. There's some turns up here. See, this car was originally built to go around turns. Honestly, the guy I bought it from said they had the car realigned so that the toe and camber is flat to keep less wear on the tires. But this car goes around a turn about as good as my Fox body did. I'm definitely glad I'm not setting this car up for turning, because no, this is not a confidence-inspiring car going around a turn. And I'm sure all that could be changed, but no, straight line's where it's at for this car. Now, I actually haven't even launched this car yet, like from a dig. I really don't know how well, it will go. But I guess we can figure that out in the video here and hopefully not break anything. That would suck. Just a nice launch, nothing too crazy. Just to see how this thing hooks up. Alright, let's see what happens. Is all torque. That's all this thing is torque. Holy crap. This is great. You can see and feel the front end of the car just lift up. It is comical. Ridiculous once this engine gets modified. I mean, oh my god, this thing's already a riot with whatever, I would say about 250 horsepower at the crank. It's got some things done to the end, like it's stock, but it's got the cold air intake and it's got some of the emission stuff taken off of it, so I'm sure it's making just a tad bit more power. This thing's probably frightening at 400 wheel horsepower. And I was actually doing some math, just general math, right? Just kind of factoring in the power to weight ratio and how fast this car can theoretically go based off the power it has and the weight of the car, at least the weight I think the car weighs. And I tell you, it's not as quick as the EV Mustang. The EV Mustang's definitely faster, but it's definitely not far behind it in terms of how quick it is accelerating. So this at 350 wheel horsepower would be the equivalent, which is easy to get out of this engine, would be the equivalent of the EcoBoost Mustang at 500 wheel horsepower. And that's assuming that this car weighs around 2,600 pounds. I don't know, I haven't measured it. That was a ballpark estimate from the guy I bought it from. It said the cage adds about 200 pounds. I guess he figured whatever a stock Fiero weighs minus stripped Fiero plus the cage. There we are, back on home here at the Cars Created Garage. All right. Gotta fix that. Store never. There it goes. Well, I'm putting new doors on anyway, so hopefully I won't even have that problem. But yeah, the first drive in the Cars Created Fiero. So there we are. So hopefully you like the drive in the new car. It's fun. It's gonna be something interesting here. Definitely different. Not used to having a car like this, but it's fun. It's definitely fun. It's different. Something new. It's always good to learn different things. So I'm so used to having Fords. And finally getting to my first non-Ford car. The thing is, it's actually a lot of this era GM stuff is very similar to a lot of Fords. So like in terms of how things are, where things are located, the type of sensors used, very similar. So it's not 100% foreign. What's 100% foreign is the layout of the car. That's 100% foreign. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Share with everyone you know if you want to see more content like this and you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Keep a lookout for the next true car enthusiast video.